this was Dr. Kashif Shastri, who was conducting a session on how to plan your career. I would like to give honorary regard to him for his precious time. He came from Karachi for this session. And our next session will be career opportunities in Middle East. And our speaker will be Dr. Syed Furrukh Jamil. He is MBBS, FRCPS, and Masters in Medical Education and Program Director of Pediatrics from King Saud bin Abdulaziz Medical University.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. First of all, I'm very thankful for PIMA Sindh for inviting me for this career guidance session. Thank you for your kind introduction. I'm Dr. Syed Jamil. I'm a consultant in pediatrics here in Saudi Arabia. And I'm also a program director for pediatrics and actively involved here in the teaching. So the task I have been assigned to talk about the career opportunities in Middle East. So I'm going to share my presentation with you guys. I hope you could see my presentation now. There you go. Okay, so yeah, that's a brief introduction on the slide. You could see I've got an email on the bottom. If anybody want to contact me, feel free to drop me a line. Okay, so I'm going to first talk about different reasons why people want to come to the Middle East. And there could be various reasons, and I've put some of them here. So I mean, it could be because of the better salary and saving. Some people like the environment. Some people like the work and life balance. I get that a lot of you are in the beginning of your career. So, and I'm going to talk about later on this topic. A lot of you come because of the transit and some international exposure and as a bridge. But yes, certainly there are other reasons as well, the better living style, living standards, and obviously those who want to come to Saudi Arabia, they have this extra benefit of Alhamdulillah going to Makkah and Medina. So there are some reasons. I mean, there might be some other reasons people would like to come to the Middle East. Now, I thought it would be nice to just briefly mention what Middle East means. So I put here only the Gulf Middle East. You know, obviously Middle East is a big area, and within the Middle East we have this Gulf countries. And even in the Gulf countries, I put here the key countries which people would prefer to come for various reasons, which we discussed in the previous slide. And as you could see here on this slide, I mean, Saudi Arabia is about 62% population-wise of all of the Gulf region. So other countries, the second big is the United Arab Emirates, 16%, and then Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain are very small in terms of the population. And this slide is important and this will give you an idea in terms of the job opportunities. And obviously, the area where the 62% of population is will technically and logically will have more job opportunities compared to the other areas, as you could see. Now, in this slide, I try to put some concepts, some reasons why would you come to the Middle East. And obviously, as you are in the beginning of your career, probably Middle East will not be the best choice for your career. A lot of you would like to do training locally. Those who don't like to do training locally, they would rather prefer to go to the UK and the US. Myself, I went to the UK, got trained there, and I came Middle East after my training as a consultant. But some of you might directly come here from the Pakistan. So I just hypothesize the scenarios myself. So scenario number one could be after MBBS, you've done your postgraduate, and with the postgraduate, you coming here after FCPS. If you come after FCPS, you might get the terminology varies across the countries, but mainly you will get a non-consultant grade job. So some people call a staff physician, assistant consultant, or specialist. They're all three similar terms in different hospitals in different countries. You'll get that job in your specialty, and then you have three possible outcomes. One, you continue the same job as long as you wish. You might get a progression, you might not get a progression. It depends upon the hospital and setting. So you might get a progression. After a few years, they might make you upgrade you or promote you to associate, and then maybe as a consultant as well. That depends upon the specialty and the hospital. The other option could be after this route, you might actually use as a bridge and do your MRCP or MRCP-CH and further move on in your career in the countries, especially like UK, a lot of opportunities currently, and I'm sure somebody will be talking about the opportunities in the UK. Third, I have seen quite a few people who use this bridge. They came here after FCPS, done some training here, got some CVs done, and then they moved to the Canada for fellowship. And then after the fellowship, they relocated to Pakistan or came back to the Middle East again as a consultant. The other option, which is obviously some of you might go that route, which is not kind of a preferable route, but obviously different reasons, different circumstances, that after MBBS, you've done few years local experience, you don't have any degree, you came as a general practitioner. And then once you're here, again, you have two options. One, continue the same job as long as you wish, or you change your mind, you want to do some exams. A lot of people are able to do the MRCP or MRCGP exam while they are in Saudi Arabia, even in the non-training jobs. So that's kind of a two route I thought you might consider or might think when you come to the Saudi Arabia or any of the Middle East country. And the third will be, so this is those who are in the training, and I don't know whether their audience are the trained people as well like me. So obviously the people are trained, they come as well in Saudi Arabia, especially after their foreign qualification, and they get easily a consultant job here. Now, in the next few slides, I'm going to go through with some of the job opportunities in the different countries, and I'm going to focus on some of the big countries rather than every single country. Saudi Arabia, as I mentioned, you're the biggest one. And here you have a variety of organizations like Pakistan. So you have a Ministry of Health, which is the largest public sector provider. And the ministry has all sort of jobs in terms of the primary care, secondary care, tertiary cares. And the tertiary hospitals, some of them are actually very big hospitals. As you could see, the King Fahd Medical City and King Saud Medical City in Samesi. The other big providers, one of them I'm working is the National Guard Health Affairs. Again, National Guard has a hospital in all big cities. King Faisal Specialist Research Hospital, very famous, very pronounced, well-known. And then they have the hospitals in Riyadh, Jeddah, Dammam, and Medina. There is a Ministry of Defense hospitals, security forces hospitals, and then we call the university hospitals. So all public sector big universities in the Saudi Arabia, they have their own hospitals. So as I said, Saudi Arabia is a big country. There is a lot of public sector hospitals across the kingdom. Other than the public sector, we have a big private sector here, booming private sector, a lot of opportunities coming up, those who have FCPS and things. And I put few names here. John Hopkins, probably a little tough one. They prefer the foreign qualification, but Sulaiman Habib, Salman Faqih, Dalla, Saudi German, some examples, they will easily take people who have FCPS and some post-FCPS experience. Qatar has a similar opportunities. They do have very strong community-based primary care health system, which they have developed recently. Then they have a secondary care, a single organization called Hamad Medical Center, and they have some tertiary specialized care hospitals, and there is a private hospitals as well. But as I told you, Qatar is a very small country. Obviously, opportunities are very small compared to the Saudi Arabia or UAE. Oman is obviously another country which has similar setup. They have the public sector hospitals. Some names are here, and then they have the university hospitals, Royal Hospital, Sultan Qaboos University, Sultan Qaboos Centers, Armed Force Hospital, and they have a good private sectors as well. UAE is probably the other biggest area where there's a lot of hospitals. Now, public sector with the time is shrinking in the UAE, and the private sector is more expanding in the UAE. And there is a list of health authorities they have in Dubai and in the Emirates. They have the different the ministries or the controlling authorities, and they have a variety of hospitals. Public sector, Tamam, Sheikh Shahbood, Sheikh Khalifa, Dubai, Al Qasimi, they're all the big hospitals in the public sector. And then they have a lot of private sector hospital, American Hospital, Barjeel, Al Jadila, and a lot of other private sectors hospitals as well. Now I'm going to move a little bit about the what qualification required. I think in the first slide with the career path, I did mention it depends upon which stage of the career you are when you're planning to come to the Middle East. Preferably, I told you after your post-graduation, you have better opportunities. So after the FCPS in Pakistan, depending upon your FCPS, you can easily get a job. If you're a family medicine, first of all, after they prefer some experience even after the FCPS as well. But even if you have an FCPS and some experience determine your job opportunities. So more experience you have, more likely you match yourself as a consultant. Less experience you have after your fellowship, more likely you will start as a non-consultant grade, which I mentioned before, staff physician or specialist or assistant consultant. These are the similar terminologies in different setups and different specialities. But general practitioner, especially in the Ministry of Health and peripheries, they probably okay without even in postgraduate qualifications. So as soon as you have an MBBS and a few years experience, they might take you as a GP, they call it. But this is changing. So now the big organizations are hiring more qualified general practitioner. They call it family physician as in the top. But the vast majority of the small primary care centers are still hiring the non postgraduate doctors with some experience as general practitioners as well. Which fields are okay for Pakistanis and South Asian doctors? To be honest, they can come to any field. But as I mentioned, the surgical competitive fields, less likely chance to get a consultant job. A physical physician or high demand fields likely to get a job. For example, the general medicine, pediatric, family medicine, accident emergency. There's a lot of demand. Gynae ops, there's a lot of demand at any level, even the non-consultant level as well. Especially the females have a very good chance of gynae and ops if they would like to come here as a specialist or as a assistant consultant. The salary is very variable, and depend upon which level you're starting. So a specialist salary is around about 20,000 riyal or 20,000 Qatari riyal, and you can or UAE dirham, more or less same, roughly. And then obviously more experience you have, the salary will increase. A consultant or senior consultant salary, you're thinking about 30-35 to start with in 1,000 riyal and Qatari riyal and UAE dirham as well. And obviously, if you have foreign qualification, they might even offer you higher. On top of that, you will have benefits, end of service benefit as well in terms of the one basic salary for each year, and housing and education benefits as well. There, yeah. So that's the housing benefit. So the 5,000 to 8,000 riyal per month, most of the hospital will offer you, and where you can easily get even cheaper than that, you can easily get an accommodation. So you might have some saving through the housing benefits as well. And similarly, the educational benefit, it depends upon the school expenses. The educational benefit is again variable in the hospital. As consultant level, most of the hospital give 2 to 3 children educational allowance, which roughly 21 to 25,000 riyal or Qatari riyal or Saudi riyal, and which is okay for the Pakistan International School. Some of the schools are even more expensive, but most of the schools are in this range, what you get from your hospital. The expenses vary. So young family might live with 3,000 Qatari or Saudi riyal, but it can be higher as well. It depends upon the different socioeconomic style and standards, obviously, how do you want to live. Now, recruitment process, you need to contact the recruitment agencies which hire for these organizations, and some of the names are here: Overseas Employment Corporation or private agencies, Al Najm, Arbito, or Fauji Foundation. Or you could have a direct hiring through applications of the website. Or the best thing which work in these countries, the personal contact. So you need to find where do you want to work, what's your qualification, and if you know some friends who can introduce you. Probably in the Middle East, the word of mouth works quite a lot. So if you have a friend who you can send your CV to, and the friend can forward your CV to the chairman or the department head, might be your chances are more to be invited for the interview compared to the applying through their website. They not always reply to the applications on the website. They do. I mean, and obviously it will vary upon organization to organization. But the best recommendation I will give you is find a person who's working on that particular organization and get your CV to the appropriate person through that kind of a route. The verification is very important. So if anyone of you is planning to move to the Middle East, maybe you should start doing these things. First, you need to get a verification from your own university. Then university verification need to be further verified by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs office in Karachi or other cities. And after that, once you have a job offer or something, then the particular embassy cross kind of verify your documents. So, for example, if you want to come to Saudi Arabia, you have to classify the certified these documents through the Saudi cultural attaché in Pakistan. There are some online verification systems now activating, especially the data flow and Prometric. The data flow is for Saudi Arabia and most of the UAE, so they are actually streamlining things that probably make life more easier in terms of the verifications and things. And in terms of the registration to the health councils in each country, there are some regulations, there are some testing. Saudi Arabia, you have to do a test, and at consultant level, you might have to do an interview as well. And this is more or less similar in UAE and the Qatar as well, so we have to do the local test as well. So I think that's pretty much I want to say about the opportunities in Middle East. So in summary, the one thing I want to make you very clear, the Middle East probably not the best place to get a primary training opportunity. So you're not going to get a training job in the Middle East, like a residency program, very, very unlikely, or fellowship program, now getting very tough, very unlikely. So the options you have is to have your first post-graduation in your country, Pakistan, like an FCPS. Then if you want some subsequent qualifications, experience, the Middle East is a very good place as a bridging, as I mentioned you. So if you're planning to go to UK and you want to get MRCP in the Saudi Arabia or MRCP-CH while you're in Saudi Arabia, that might work for you. You spend a couple of years here, get your membership, and get on with the next step of your career in terms of going abroad. Those who prefer this long path. Or otherwise, those who want just a quality of life, good money, then obviously after your first fellowship in Pakistan, you can easily get a non-consultant grade to start with, and then you can build your career, as I mentioned you in the beginning of the career. I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much again for giving me this opportunity to talk on the career opportunities in the Middle East. And unfortunately, I might not be able to join you for the live session because I'm busy in actually MRCP-CH exam. I'm an examiner and we do run exam in Jeddah on 12th of May. But I'm sure the colleague in other colleague in the panel should be able to answer the question. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.